Okay,
Yes.
thank you all so much for being here. We are super excited to have you as a major part of our conference this year. We are looking at kind of our highest conference registration ever. So a lot of it has to do with you and what you're bringing to the table. So thank you all for being here and for being a part of this conference. I'm Janine Hatum. I serve as the Director of High School Innovation, and we have Maura McGlynn, who is managing this massive undertaking. So we're going to get you kind of thinking about your sessions and giving you as much information as we can to make sure you're prepared. So the time together is really an overview, some norms and resources for all speakers. And then those of you who are in Lightning Labs, we have some detailed information for you as well. And then we will open it up for questions. I do want to preface this by saying we recognize that the timing is unique this year with the election. So voting on the 5th. So if you're coming to the conference, just make sure you know that if you're coming on the 5th, that you get your voting in sooner. And also we recognize that the tone and the participants might be a little off or on or not unknowing. So we recognize that and we're preparing for that as well. Maura?
Yeah, thanks, Janine. So this year's annual conference, Celebrating Wins and Learning from Losses, is the theme. We are like this is close to finalizing our registration list. We have 770 full conference attendees. You all are contributing 65 sessions over the course of 2 days. We have 138 session presenters. And then we hope that we'll see you at the Higher Ed Showcase and Networking Reception on Wednesday from 3:30 to 5. It's the only thing scheduled because there will be 56 institutions as well as institutional partners. And then we do have a number of sponsor and vendors there for you to check out as well. I think a total of 77 tables being used. Really quickly, I just want to do a quick schedule overview. So obviously you all are in here because you are presenters. The majority of you, unless you're a part of a pre-conference group, and you would know if you were, um, are coming in on Wednesday. Registration will open at 9 a.m. and you can check in, get your swag bag, grab your name tag, and head on down to the entertainment hall for breakfast. Ryan Fewens Bliss, our executive director, will kick us off with a state of the network, and then immediately after that, we jump into learning session one. And, actually, before I get too far into this, I am going to ask you all to check in on the Speaker Resource Center. Janine is going to drop a link in the chat. You've probably gotten a million emails from me, from the conference email, maybe from our events assistant, Marissa. The Speaker Resource Center is a great resource, as in the title, for you to check your time of session, the date of your session, to upload your own bio or make edits to your bio. Um, you can also put, links to websites that you might want to link to, your LinkedIn profile. So it's just a great place for people to be able to connect to you, as well as learn more about you in your time, and for you to be able to be in control of the information that's shared about you, as well as your session. So please take a look at that Speaker Resource Center. Again, Janine just dropped the link in the chat. Make sure that you know when your learning session is. So we'll jump back over to this agenda. If you're learning session one, there are nine sessions taking place in each of these sort of time slots. So if you have learning session one on Wednesday from 11 to 11:50, that's taking place here. And then you and your attendees will go immediately to lunch after. And then also on day one is learning sessions 2 and 3 after lunch, and after we hear from these awesome Spark Talk speakers. So we go into learning sessions 2 and 3. And again, there's 9 different sessions taking place here, 9 different sessions taking place here. And the Speaker Resource Center should tell you when, where, and the timing of that. And then after learning session 3 on day 1, we have that higher ed showcase that I was talking about. And then we move into the College Access Impact Awards Dinner. A reminder that if you registered for the full conference and not the presenter only, that your ticket includes the higher ed showcase, it includes a College Access Impact Awards Dinner and ceremony. So we hope that to see you for all of these things. Just going to get these other folks who are just coming in into the room with us. So then on Thursday, we open up with breakfast and Angeline Bully. Really excited about her keynote session. And then we have learning sessions 4 and 5. So if you are presenting in a lightning lab, you are presenting on day 2, Thursday, November 7th, either from 10:10 to 11 or from 11:10 to noon, maybe both for some of you. And we're going to go into that a bit more here in a second. So hopefully that's a pretty good comprehensive overview of the schedule. Yep, got the Speaker Resource Center. One thing that I wanted to highlight is that communication on site this year will be done in essentially a texting group, an SMS group through a program called Simple Texting, a platform called Simple Texting. So please look for texts starting probably on Monday or Tuesday morning, just a test text on Monday or Tuesday of conference week. You will not be able to like message back to each other. You can message back to Janine or myself, but we will be able to push out messages to you in real time. Like if there is a keynote session that runs late and we have to change the start time of a presentation or something, because we want to make sure that you get your time as well as them getting their time, we'll be able to push that out to you via SMS. So please look for those text messages, and those will be from Janine and I. And but it won't be some crazy like thread where you can like reply all to each other. Anything that you reply to that will just come back to Janine and I. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the traditional sessions. Again, that's if you're in sessions 1, learning session 1, 2, 3, or 4 and 5 have 8 traditional sessions occurring. So these are not the Lightning Lab sessions. For all sessions, please arrive 10 to 15 minutes before your session. All traditional sessions are some sort of, they're either theater or classroom seating. So that means like just rows of chairs or a combination of tables with chairs and rows of chairs. That's that classroom seating is a table with chairs. Theater is just the chairs. All rooms hold between like 40 to 140 people, depending on what room you're in and where you're placed. This year, this is a really big change, but it's a really important change in terms of accessibility. We are asking that everybody in a traditional session use a handheld microphone. These are going to be provided for you. Um, they will be on a stand, either a stand on the podium or a stand on the ground. I'm going to show you a picture of a microphone in a second. We're going to talk more about that. But every room will also have a room monitor, and that room monitor is there. They're an MCAN staff member. Previously, they've been like some of our AmeriCorps folks, our advisors and coaches. This year, they are all MCAN staff, and they are there to be your support person. One of the biggest things that they're going to do is get the session started for you, make sure that folks know what session they're in, that they are in fact in the right place, maybe help find seating, and then give you 10, 5, and 1-minute cue cards. I'm going to skip over to this, what to bring. Let's see, you're going to want to bring your own computer, an adapter or a dongle if needed for an HDMI connection. And if you like to use a presentation clicker, please bring your own as well. So that HDMI connection is for visual or audio things in your presentation. A couple of things about presentations. Please download them so that they are hard copies on your, sorry, not hard copies, but they are like on your hard drive of your computer. Please do not count on the internet. We never like to count on technology if we don't have to be able to load your slides. So download that presentation. If you have a video that you're hoping to share, please embed that video. If you're not sure how to do that, John Herman with Message Makers has very generously offered to help us with that. So if you need help embedding a video in your presentation, that means that when you click it, it doesn't go to an external link. It just plays right within the presentation. You can email herman@messagemakers.com. MCAN presenter support in the subject line, just to kind of like help him, place who you are and what you're asking for. But John Herman is happy to help embed videos. They will need to be in a .ppt. So you would share your presentation and then the video that you would like embedded, whether that is a link or an actual file, and then he will be able to help you embed that video. Um, Okay, so going back to the handheld microphone, you know what? I'm realizing I forgot to put this up, but I think that's okay. This lovely photo, thanks for bearing with me, um, is what your microphones are going to look like. Okay, it's a very blurry photo. But essentially the power button is on the side of the microphone. I'm very specific about this. I come from the music world, and we all think that, we've got really big voices, but the reality is most of us need help with amplification, no matter what room we're in, and it's an accessibility component. So it's just going to make sure that everybody is getting that information that you've worked so hard. So on the side of the microphone, there's a tiny little power button. So you want to press and hold that if the microphone is off. So about 3 seconds, press and hold is going to be on off. And then usually just a one touch is going to mute it. There's a tiny little light. The green light means go, right? Always green light means go. Um, And the orange light means that you are muted. So if you need to mute, unmute, that's a one tap. If you need to turn on or turn off, that's a press and hold. And again, that's on the side of the microphone. When you are using a microphone, please remember things like microphones are directional. So if you're holding it all the way down here, it's not catching your voice. If you're holding it more up here, the microphone's catching more of your voice, more of the diction that you're using, the consonants and the syllables, and it's just going to make it more accessible and easier for everybody in the room to hear. So don't be afraid. Don't shy away from holding it up all the way up to your mouth. That is best practice. And then again, right on the side of that microphone, you're going to have press and hold on off and one touch for mute, unmute. Green light means go. Uh, Lightning Lab sessions. She's a singer. I am. Lightning Lab sessions. So these are taking place in 50-minute sessions. However, if you are presenting a lightning lab in that 50-minute session, you're going to do your presentation 2 times. So 20 minutes, a few minutes for folks to do a switcheroo with the tables, and then you've got another 20 minutes. There are no microphones in this session, no microphones to use, because everybody is seated at one singular round table that's at your presentation. Um, so you don't necessarily need to bring your laptop for this, but you should bring printed materials. Like people love things to write on, to follow along with, even if it's just an agenda, an overview of what you're sharing and some of the key points. Like please do bring printed materials. We would suggest 30 pieces. Technically, you can't have more than 20 folks in one session. So you've got 10 at your table once and then 10 at your table again. But people love to grab extra copies, share with friends, etc. If you want to bring a laptop just to maybe have a few visual components, feel free. But remember that audio won't really work. And this is mostly like a dialogue based session. And I will let Janine talk more about that too. I'm kind of stealing some of this in-depth stuff. Jenny,
Yeah,
you want to
I
talk
would
more about
say,
lightning labs?
yeah, I would say if those of you who are not in Lightning Lab, so those of you who have traditional sessions and don't have any further questions, I would say, Maura, would this be a good time for them to sign off?
Yeah, I think that the rest of this is mostly Lightning Lab overview. Uh, we could take a short break
Okay.
and do a little Q&A right now.
Yeah. Let's do a Q&A. So anything that you've heard so far that you have questions about, anything from the traditional session folks that you want clarification about, we'll take a few minutes to do that now.
Feel free to drop those in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself as well and ask those questions. I'm just kind of flipping back through our previous slides. Just as a reminder of what we've gone over.
Is there, and that this might be in some of the materials online or something that's coming, but is there directions to the space and the rooms that we're using?
So yes, there you will receive when you check in at registration a program, and that has a map to the entire venue. Um, I'm actually trying to remember now. If you give me just a moment. Yeah, we may be able to get a map of the location uploaded onto this um, the conference website as well. I've made a note of that. But yes, there will be a map of the location available in your program.
That'll work perfect. Thank you.
Mhm. Do you have a general preference or norm around how much time to leave for questions within the session time? Um, so Janine has said that was a question in the chat, and Janine has answered. It's up to your preference, but we would hope to leave like at least 5 minutes for Q&A with the audience, with your attendees at the end of a session. Um, Chris, yeah, we can send these slides to everybody. Andy, will participants have access to the materials that we upload to the Speaker Resource Center? Yes, we will end up sharing those with all participants, all attendees. Are they likely to have their computers with them to look at materials? Um, I would say I would not count on all participants to have computers with them. Also remember that some of this seating is theater seating, so that would mean like you've got a computer on your lap. If there's something that you want people to review or walk away with, I think a hard copy is best. Um, it- uh,
Wendy.
oh, Wendy.
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, Wendy will be in touch. It came from conference@micollegeaccess.org. And it should be like Speaker Resource Center invitation.
Yeah, I would say 30 printouts total for the two Lightning Labs. At least, I think people like to carry some more with them and share them widely. I think people who might not be able to see your session might want to just go by and pick something up. Those of you who are doing two Lightning Lab rounds, you would need double that. So,
Yeah, so if you are presenting in this Lightning Lab time, just this Lightning Lab time, you want 30. If you're presenting in just this Lightning Lab time, you want 30. But if you're somebody doing both, you're going to want 60.
okay.
How many
So
attendees? Sorry, Ross. Per session, do you estimate how many attendees? Somewhere between 40 and 140, depending on what room you're in. If you have a question about your specific room, please feel free to send us an email at conference@micollegeaccess.org and I can let you know. All right. Okay. Janine?
Maura, did you answer the question about a map? Sorry, the map, of the rooms, the location, etc.
Yeah, somebody asked out loud about the map or like where is our room? When you check in for the when you check in at registration for the conference, you'll receive a program, and in the program there's a map of the venue. I've noted this, and we'll look at getting it on the website as well ahead of time. And then there's also like printed maps of the venue at different places through the venue.
There,
Sorry, one more, and I think this is Ross asked the same question. How many attendees per session? Not the lightning rounds. And then do they register in advance? So do you know, or
Yep. So, depending on the room that you're in, the number is different. There will be anywhere between 40 and 140 seats in your room. If you have a question about your specific room, if you're thinking about like printing things or you just want to know, please send me an email to conference at micollegeaccess.org. I'd be happy to give you more information about the setup of your specific room. If you could include what room you're in, that would be awesome. And attendees do not register for sessions ahead of time.
so they don't register? So you're just kind of using like your experience and knowledge about the topic and the presentation to guess how many seats you need.
no, the room that you've been assigned to has a capacity. So whatever that capacity is how many people are able to,
Allowed.
yeah,
Okay.
allowed in this
Okay.
session. We tried to do our best to figure out based on attendees, but you can never do
Right.
that. In fact, that's what keeps me up at night when I think about this. So just trying to figure that out. But the MCAN staff person will be there. And if a session is full, they will put a session full sign outside the door and shut the door. So
Okay.
that is something that we're thinking about. In fact, if there's overflow, there's people standing in the back, and that's happened before, and it happens probably at every conference. So we are definitely going to be mindful of that.
Thanks.
If,
Lisa,
go ahead.
you can go ahead. I'm sorry. Lisa asked on her tasks on the Speaker Resource Center, it says upload your presentation materials. I'm doing a lightning lab. Do I upload my handout? I will say this about the uploads to the Speaker Resource Center. If you want attendees to have access to your materials digitally, please upload them. So if somebody grabbed your handout and then they lost it and then they wanted to access it later, they'd be able to go on. We will make sure that those are available to attendees and they would be able to go on and find it.
Yeah, I would also say that it's been really helpful for folks who do presentations to have an sign up sheet. So if you do want to follow up with your folks that come, and you know how after the session's over, they kind of linger. So you can, instead of just since the next session will be starting soon, you could just have them sign their name, an email address, and now you have collected some information from them, so you can follow up with direct communications too. Okay, so those of you who are doing traditional sessions and don't have any further questions, feel free to jump off. Those of you who are doing lightning labs, this is for you. So thank you again for those of you who are jumping off. We appreciate you, and we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks. Lightning labs. Lightning labs are like roundtable discussions, and we found these to be really effective for folks that really want to interact with their people, ask and answer questions, and really provide them some like one-on-one attention. So we are excited about these. There will be, when you enter the ballroom, there will be a sign posted with session titles and the corresponding table numbers. So you'll find your session title and find your table number and then go to your table. So you're seated at that designated table. There's going to be 11 going on simultaneously in a big room. So 11 round tables, 10 seats around each table. The guests will be instructed to find the table that they want to start with. And then if seats are filled, they'll just go and find another table. and then they'll go back to yours perhaps if they want to for the next session. You will have no formal slideshow presentation, but you will definitely have handouts. Of course, your laptops can be used to showcase things. There is not a plug at each table, so make sure it's fully charged if you're going to use it. And again, those handouts are important. I think business cards and or sign-in sheets are super easy in this context, in this structure. So if you have business cards or if you have a sign-in sheet, then you can get people's information. The true beauty of these types of sessions is the interaction and is the kind of networking that can happen from them. So we're hoping that you see that same thing as well. The next slide just gives the suggested format for this. So when we've experienced these at other conferences, we kind of took some of the ideas that they had and came up with this suggested format. One is you could have the handouts at every seat for people, or just hand them out. Introduce yourself and the session title and the purpose of your session. Don't have everyone around the table introduce themselves, but rather when they speak, you start off with a norm that says, when you add to the conversation or contribute, please let us know your name and where you're from. You'll have about 15 minutes to share your content and your important information, and then allow for 5 minutes of Q&A or discussion. Some of you will focus this whole thing on more of a discussion, and that's great. Some of you have resources that you want feedback on, and you'll ask for feedback during that time, and that's also great. Then we'll have 2 to 3 minutes for transition. The participants will move to another lab. You will stay at the same table. I will be in that room to give people the switch. So everyone will hear time to switch, and everyone will switch at that time. That's Lightning Labs. Anyone have questions? There is a document that is in the chat for everyone who's doing a Lightning Lab with the same information, maybe a little bit more detail. They will all be in Black River room, the Black River Ballroom. So that is where you will be. Again, there will be signage for all the sessions, and there will be MCAN staff helping people find the various tables. Yeah. We tried this last year for the first time and got great feedback. The one thing we did last year that was different was we had bigger tables and it was too loud for a lot of folks. So just be mindful that it is small, a small group, so that you don't have to feel like you have to shout, and then it doesn't allow for a lot of There's a question about how was it decided who would be in the Lightning Lab? The Lightning Labs were decided on what we thought, well, a lot of people asked for Lightning Labs. So if you requested a Lightning Lab, then that's one thing. The other piece was it's just the content of the way it was described just made sense for a Lightning Lab. So we hope that you see that as well.
Stacy asked if the numbers at tables are monitored. There's only 10 seats at the table. So there will only be 10 attendees. I suppose people could like start grabbing seats from another one. But that is something that the room monitor, the MCAN staff, which Janine will be in there, and then likely another MCAN staff member to support, will step in and manage. 10 people total at the tables. So if you have, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
Janine.
no, in the instructions, there was a request that it's really only 1 or 2 people at the Lightning Lab sessions for this purpose. If you do have more than 1 or 2, it might just make sense for them to stand, because we want to make sure you're included, but we also want more people to have access to you. If you don't see a lot of people at your table, then of course use the seat, but I would say just making sure that there is access for folks to attend your session. Any other questions?
Really
Any?
cool to see so many of you today. So huge thank you for popping on. And I hope that everyone's feeling also excited and maybe slightly more prepared now.
Yeah, and we were supposed to record this, but I don't think we ever pressed
We
record.
we did, we did.
Oh, we did. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Those who couldn't join will have access to this. We will do a follow-up email with the texting information. I think, again, if you have any other questions, please feel free to email the conference at MI College Access email, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, everybody.